Okay, so there is Ableton Note, and I wanted to do this video a while ago. Let me start from the beginning. Let's do a new project. That'll make it easier. Okay, so here's a new project. Now I want to talk about this particular app because I don't use it and don't care for it. And this is not going to be all negative. I'm going to tell you some things that I do appreciate about it, but a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about don't stem from a hatred of Ableton, because I actually love Ableton Live and I use it all the time. It's my favorite DAW and probably the most creative DAW I've ever used personally. So we'll start by saying that. Oh, let me get a mouse because I don't want to do this by my hands. Touching the screen all the time drives me crazy. All right, so that's to be said up front. It's no disrespect to Ableton. It's just why I don't care for this particular app. Okay, so start out, it looks plain Jane is all get out. I mean, I know people talk about Ableton and say it looks like an Excel spreadsheet. I can understand their feelings on that. I think a lot of the reasons why they do that is to keep part of it. I think this is just my personal feelings, is to keep the cost, or not the cost, but the CPU down, because I think the more graphics and things you got to run, it can be taxing on the program. But anyway, that's just my thought. All right. So the drum rack. The drum rack is essential, I mean, in some ways, to have for Ableton. Without a drum rack, I think it would be definitely something I wouldn't dare not use. I'm going to load up one of my favorites, which is this dry session. It's really basic sounding drums because I don't like a lot of drum. I'm not a big drum heavy person, but that's me. Okay, so that doesn't mean anything. All right, let's go back. So first thing is, I don't like the random loading of stuff. I'm gonna have to hold this mic too. I don't like the random loading of synthesizers that I have no intention of using. Okay, this automatically gets deleted every time I open this. So why even make it that way? Just let me build a template right in here that opens with maybe a drum rack and the thing that they're missing that I'm about to talk about next. All right. So with the drum rack, sure, you can put any sample you want in here. You can even record the microphone into it. And they have some pad effects and some kit effects that you can use, right? Now, in the past, I said I don't like clips. I prefer a linear workflow. That's still true to this day. So this is challenging. And not challenging in the sense that I can't do it, just challenging in the sense that it's not my favorite way to work. Now, can I get over that? Absolutely. Because if everything else that I'm about to talk about was there, I think I would have no problem. Okay, so check this out. Of course, we know we can drum in and it does it live, and then you can capture that loop. And it does pretty good with the timing, right? Actually, really good with the timing. So that's great. You can go in and detune or adjust or add to it. Add that in. Now, let's stop here. I'm not a just build a clip type person. I'm a build a math. First of all, I'm not drumming first, generally speaking. I'm playing other instruments first and then building the drums over those. So that's my method to the madness. If you're a looper type person, this is great for you, which is probably why I struggled like in Loopy Pro. Although going into Loopy Pro, I kind of expected it to be a looper app. So that was just kind of what you would have had to taken as the understood, like you're going into a looper app. It's designed to loop. So therefore, even though I invested in it, I just didn't really care for it because that's not the way I make music. Um, However, in this one, you can go longer than what I did here, which is like 2 bars. Is this 2 bars or 4 bars? I think this is 2 bars. You can go longer and make the clip longer. So that's not an issue. You can replace each one of these with other stuff. It doesn't have to be drums, right? So if we go back to the mixer, you can just press add and then go to the core and then figure out what you want to add in, a bass or whatever, if you're going to use any of these. I'm not a fan of these synths, these sounds, these anything. Now here they do say templates, so you could bring a sampler right here. Let's see. We're not adding that. We don't want to start. So it says sampler right here. When you click it, I'm not sure if it's bringing in one-shot samples or what that is doing. Go back to the core. So I'm just going to bring in another, well, I don't want drums. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, why not just make this a simpler? All right, so let's go here. Okay, here's the core library. Here's the user library. Let's go to the core. We'll go to templates. And then you could just do a drum rack. So they have a sampler here, which I don't even know what it is. Like if I click it, okay, here's a sampler. So we're in the sampler, but I don't want to use these samples. So you go back, I guess, to your library user. I don't really think I have any user libraries here, whatever. I'm gonna just click done. All right, so here's a sampler. So you can record in or you can load in something if you want. I don't know why these two exist. I don't use them. Okay, we're gonna get into this sampler. Well, if it would stop playing while I'm trying to get into the sampler. Okay, so sampler. No. Just go back to the sample. Okay, I'll tell you when to play. Right now, I'll just go back to the sample. So here's a clip, but I don't know why it won't go back to the sample. I don't need to edit the sample. I just want to go to the sample itself. Oh my lord. Stupid stuff like this drives me crazy. All right, let me take my finger, see if I can get it to... Okay, go to the... Thank you. Go to the sample. Good gracious. All right. So you can load in a sample. I don't think I have any recordings or anything like that. Import it. There's none imported. So you could import it. It's a lot of menu diving, which I'm not... I mean, yeah, you have to do that on Ableton in some ways, but my goodness, make it simple. Easy access straight to wherever I want the folder to go to should be what it is. I'm going to grab one of these pads out of here. That'll be fine. We'll just open that one. So I guess you can go in here and load the sound and then go to import. Okay. So I'm not doing this on live where somebody can help, but I'm just showing you this thing menu diving and stuff like this. I'm not interested in it. Okay, what in the world did I do? Now I can't get out of this. Okay, get out of here. I don't even know what it's pulling that from, but anyway, let's see if we can go back to... So this is the sample, I'm assuming. Reverse the sample. So you can play a sample, but you can't chop the sample. It's literally just playing a sample. That is pointless to me. I could just do that in the drum rack. Why would I need a sampler that... Yeah, so for me that's lame. Okay, And I'm being straight, blunt, honest. I don't care. Just telling you the truth. That's not any helpful to me. All right, so here's a blank one. This is what I'm saying. Click done. And so now you could just load in a sample there and go to your user library, whatever. I'm gonna just pull import it. Let's put that one on there. Okay. All this backing out of stuff is driving me nuts. Just load the sample in. So again, here's a sample loaded. You could, I guess, hold on, let me see. Can you just duplicate it? I don't like this. Stuff like this. Make it easy. Hold it, do it. Just like Koala, right? Koala is much easier, in my opinion. And I can still export to Ableton when I want to finish, which is what I do. I usually will chop something in Koala, then send it over to Ableton, done. This is unfinished. And mind you, I'm in the beta version. So I would have the latest updates, though I don't see anything wrong with showing you this, is because anybody can jump in the beta. It's not like they're like hiding it from somebody. So I mean, you can't do anything but hold the sample down. Anyway, this is the kind of stuff that I would never use it for. So let's get rid of that. So if you're just going in and all you want to do is make a simple drum track, it's pretty simple. But all the rest of it, it's not fun. It's not like an enjoyable workflow at all. Koala's way easier, a lot more intuitive as far as getting going. And I use Ableton, and I know Ableton can have its little tricky things, but this, for looping, go for it, right? If you just want to have something looping and you want to do like an Ableton workflow loop and use there, but I don't see time stretching in this. That's another thing. They didn't add that to the move. It's not in here. They didn't put simpler in here, so it's not nearly as enjoyable as when you use Ableton. To me, when you do this kind of thing, you're doing it for people who already have Ableton that kind of know. This is not for somebody to be introduced to Ableton. In my opinion, it's just not, because what you're having is a situation where it's like Ableton works better than this. You have more options, the way you can chop stuff, the way you can play stuff. This is so limited that it's not even fun to use. Now, somebody will disagree, and that's perfectly fine. This is my rant. You make your own video for your rant. This is mine. But it's not fun. Like, and I make music. I can play music. I can, so I understand that there's different avenues of fun. But if you just want to make a little one-off, just use Koala. I mean, being honest, just use Koala. Like, seriously. See, Koala. If I want to just copy a pad over. Just edit the pad, chop it. Just quick. Go to the sequencer. You got a 1 bar, hit record. Done. Want to load a sound pretty quick? You got options. You could go and import the file in, or you could just go down to the samples, pull from whatever you have in there. Although you guys can't see that, so you can pull from whatever you have. Okay, there you go. That's it. So again, I'm not saying one is better than the other one. I'm just saying, for me, Ableton Note is more of a joke of an app to me, because I don't see any value in it. And I know I'll get some hate from people who are diehard Ableton fans. Guess what? I am too. But I'm being truthful and I'm just saying this is not a workflow that I would want to use to make music. Even if I'm a sample based artist. Now, I've seen the move, I haven't used it. I'm not speaking on the move saying that it's a bad move, but I'm just saying the Ableton Note workflow, that's not impressive to me. So when you get it and you like, unless you love these sounds, like, I mean, they sound really plain Jane, cheap sounding. That sounds super cheap. And I mean, there's nothing about it that I would just be like, yeah, let me go pull up my Ableton piano to use. In fact, in Ableton, I don't even like most of the stuff in there. Drift is okay for the synthesizer aspect of it. Not a fan of Meld. Love their effects. I think the effects in Ableton are solid for what they are. Um, but this is a miss for me on Note and Move until they put simpler in it and give you the ability to chop within a simpler and play back, and they put some time stretch on it. Even the 4 tracks on the Move is like, y'all got to do better than that. At least give 8. You can put. Let's just do. Hold on, watch this. I'm gonna hold this mic because otherwise it'll do this craziness. Keep adding another track, whatever, and it's randomly picking like whatever it's wanting to pick. So I don't even care what it picks. It doesn't matter to me. But you see, there's 4. Now, if you try to add these 5 in, it's only going to take the first 4. So the rest of these tracks won't matter. It only will use the first 4. I'm talking about if you add it into the Move. So you're stuck with 4 tracks. I mean, if I just want to get started on a track, that's where, to me, Koala comes into play. I mean, there's even other ways. If you're not a Koala fan, like if you don't like the way it works, there's other options too on iOS. The thing I love about this one is you can share the Ableton drum rack here and the Ableton Live set. So after you make it, then you can share it, and then you got your parts right in Ableton, and then you can finish up there. So it's, in my opinion, and the sequencer in Ableton. Oh, here's the other thing I was going to show you guys. Let me stop this. So let's say you want to edit these notes. Here's another reason why. This is the corniest looking thing I've ever seen in here. It looks so bland, and you can't highlight a section of notes. You have to do them one at a time to nudge them or move them. And that to me is lame. Now, if you look at, on the other hand, if you look at Koala, I'm just making some noises. Okay, so here's 3 pads just to put something together. Okay, here's this. Now, if I want to come here and I want to move this section, I can just highlight it, turn the snap off, free, and then I can just move it, right? Move it as I want to, backwards, forwards. Or I can snap it back into 16 where it's there, right? Or whatever. So things like that make this better. The editing of just the where the hits are, the MIDI hits, or however you want to term that, MIDI notes, just make it so much easier. Now, I get it. This is about playing something in and then, doing less editing. I guess they're wanting you to be more play. And I get that. And on drums, that's fine. I could probably get away with it. But I don't want to drum on the iPad, first of all. I would do it if I had to. But that's where I guess the Move is supposed to be the thing. But before I would even move to get a Move, I'm going to need this stuff to work. If it don't work in here right, there ain't no way I'm about to spend $500, $459, $50 or whatever for a device that does the same thing. It's the same stuff. So I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, I need to be able to highlight. I need to be able to move. I need to be able to nudge. When I zoom in, I can move one, but I can't highlight. I can't highlight a bunch of them, can I? Let somebody know something I don't know. That's the quantize. If you just click it, okay. I'm not trying to quantize this, but whatever. So it's just little things like that. The editing is whack. I don't want to use something that I can't edit on. There's no time stretch. There's no simpler, which is the best thing. Simpler and warping in Ableton is what got me to come to Ableton. Nothing else. Everything else is cool features to have here or there, but a lot of DAWs have those features, and some of them even do it a little bit better than Ableton, as much as I love Ableton. But for me, the warping, the time stretch, and the ability to have a simpler where I can chop samples in it and then play them back right in the DAW is great. Because think about it, Logic has it. I think Fruity Loops, if I'm not mistaken, has it. So I don't know. I'm just not moved by this. But anyway, I gotta run. Got a phone call.